an incredible night of wrestling, and it feels like I'm on repeat. Triplemania was amazing. My name is Sancho West, and welcome to Sancho West Wrestling, where I talk about all things I love about wrestling. If you love wrestling as well, please consider subbing to the channel. We are trying to hit 100K subs so I can get on the thumbnail of my own wrestling podcast. Wrestling is cool, so if you want to help me out, that'd be great. But today's episode, we're going to talk about Triplemania that just went down, Triplemania 33. That was kind of the first Triplemania that was in partnership with the WWE. For those of you who know, WWE bought out AAA, and they are now in the mix, and this is the first one they had on WWE YouTube, and it was for free, and that is an awesome thing. And I absolutely love this relationship so far that the AAA and WWE has working. It has introduced me to this world of luchadors and lucha libre that I've been kind of absent for the longest time. I mean, it's really hard to digest different types of promotions and different programs and things like that, like AEW, TNA, and back in the past, of course, the Impact, and so on and so on and so on, CML, New Japan, like all these promotions. And to be able to have it that's easily accessible on a YouTube channel on the WWE, I think that's a big win. And to have it for free, as I mentioned, is also a big win, considering that this is AAA's WrestleMania. To be able to sit in and enjoy the action, enjoy the ambiance, the atmosphere of Mexico City and its awesome fans, big W. And as comparison to what happened in Worlds Collide earlier the year in Los Angeles, I feel like this is a more AAA oriented type of PLE. And what I really do enjoy about the relationship between the WWE and AAA is that you kind of get the production as well. It's like it was very high end, it's very easy to digest type of thing. When I used to watch AAA type of events, the camera would always cut to the big screen because they got to do their advertisement, things like that. And so there's a little bit of little things that are a little bit intertwined that works so well. And like I mentioned, very fun PLE. I absolutely love the pageantry of AAA, and I love that we got the taste of it at home here. So overall, I thought this PLE was definitely like a 9 out of 10. Like, it was up there, and it had everything that you can ask for, considering that if you're new to AAA, if you're new to Lucha Libre, things like that, I feel like it didn't go all the way into what Lucha Libre can be. It gave you a good mix and a good taste of what AAA has to offer to the WWE audience, and at the same time, heavy influence of the WWE, not only, like I mentioned, the production, but in the actual in-ring wrestlers and the talent being used. I felt like it was really cool to see, you know, Judgment Day, Dominik Mysterio, even Dragon Lee, all these type of awesome WWE superstars in a different lens. I always feel that sometimes with wrestling and booking, things of that sort, it's just a pivot shift of a POV. Instead of looking at a wrestler this way, you just simply go like this and you see a wrestler in a whole new light. Just a little example is the Judgment Day entrance. For the longest time, we've been holding on to On the Other Side. We're saying, man, the Judgment Day new song doesn't hit. But seeing the Judgment Day all together with that Judgment Day theme, and they all come out of Roxanne, Raquel Rodriguez, Finn Balor, and JD, they look incredible. It just felt right. So like I mentioned, everything when it comes to WWE superstars, it's just a POV shift. They look great here. They all on SmackDown, we kind of take them for granted, but when you put them in a different setting, they get booed and they get cheered and all these kinds of energy that's behind Judgment Day, you kind of look at them at a different light. And I definitely felt like a lot of that for all the WWE talent, you started to look at them in a different light. But let's go ahead and break down the card in itself. And we start off with the Copa Bardahl. This is basically the Royal Rumble, so to speak, for the AAA, but it doesn't have any kind of stipulations, just for a cup. You could think of it like the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, or whatever you want to call that trophy. It's kind of like that, but the way you could either get pinned or thrown over the top. And so there's some really cool mixtures of that, and considering that it is Lucha Libre, having the ability to jump up and over, all these kind of crazy things that you kind of don't want to take away from Lucha Libre wrestling. But there was a lot of surprises. I highly recommend you watching this. Like I said, mentioned, it's on YouTube, you're on the same platform. But big surprises was Otis being in there, seeing Otis get in the mix, making Otis return from injury. But the biggest one that you'll probably be the walking around the headline is Omos. Omos comes out and shocks the world that we've all been wondering, where's Omos? Where's Omos going to return? Omos went to Noah, which is overseas in Japan, and he had a great stint there. They re-signed Omos. They're like, okay, where's Omos going to come back? Last time we saw Omos was with MVP. MVP now is in AEW, so we're wondering what Omos is doing. And they bring out Omos to come out and to compete in this Royal Rumble-esque match here at AAA's Triplemania, and the whole place exploded. I popped. If you looked at my IG at Sancho West, you see my reaction to this match. There was a really cool thing. I absolutely love this kind of format. It's a great way to introduce the world to the WWE in terms of all the luchadors that AAA has to offer. And I love La Parka. I love the heavy metal influence. A lot of these wrestlers like Mecha Wolf and all these guys were really cool to witness and watch. La Parka takes me back to the days when I was a WCW fan, you know, the cruiserweights, and I absolutely love La Parka, dude. The concerto, the chairman coming out there with the chair. And even though this La Parka is more of a dancer, like I think he usually comes out to Thriller by Michael Jackson, but here they kind of found like a copyright-free type of version that the WWE created. But like I mentioned, you're gonna get a buffet of a lot of AAA that has to offer. You get a lot of different wrestling styles as well inside of the Lucha Libre. A lot of the heels, the heavy hitters, Taurus, things of that sort. And I absolutely love the in-ring that was happening. And of course, the biggest highlight is Omos versus Microman. And Microman is a Microman, is a legend. And this guy it was a really surreal moment. And there was a lot of these moments in AAA that lets you know, like, hey, you could have fun with wrestling. And I know that's an interesting thing, because usually when it comes to AEW and how AEW has a lot of false finishes and all these finishes happening, and some people like to describe it as gymnastics and things of that sort. Lucha Libre is that, but it's interesting how in this context, and a lot of people and the Twitter and things of that sort in the timeline, they were saying it's fun just to have fun. And I'm hoping that we could take some of this lesson to the WWE programming, to WWE booking. Oftentimes, even myself, you see me on these videos critiquing the booking, critiquing how people are being booked or how a storyline plays out. When I have no frame of context, when the storylines are being presented to me and as a one night only type of thing, even though there are instances of storylines being built out, you could kind of let your guard down. You can kind of let loose and remind you how fun wrestling can be. And I will talk more about these fun moments, and especially this cup match has so many of those moments. You have Omos, this towering giant versus Microman, and literally Omos just picking him up like a bag of ice. Some just kind of crazy antics, like some visuals that you will never see anywhere else but inside of a wrestling ring. But as typical thing, what happens when you have a 7-footer inside of a battle royal or a Royal Rumble or this kind of a match, basically it's easy work, and that's what happens. You get a nice little hope spot with La Parka, and La Parka almost gets Omos out, but Omos overpowers and Omos wins. I think this is interesting. I wonder if the WWE can build on this. I wonder if Omos returns to main event television in terms of main roster television. I think he is a presence that is needed, and considering that he had a great run at Noah, this will be really cool to see Omos build off of this. And it was really fun to see Otis as well with fun characters like Bimpy. So that was really cool, fun antics all around. And like I mentioned, it was a great way to introduce the WWE audience to a whole slew of characters, because I fell in love with a lot of different wrestlers out there, or luchadores out there. That was really cool. In your next match, we had El Hijo de Wagner Jr. versus Mesías. And this was a really cool match. This was for the AAA Latin America Championship. This was a straight up singles match. I enjoyed this match because they didn't have any WWE talent, and they gave us a fun story of what was happening. Of course, this is Wagner Jr.'s big match that he was ever having. This was an opportunity to win his first championship at AAA. And then you had his father, Wagner, Dr. Wagner Jr. on the outside, and they were hanging, kind of had this great story of you had the heel Mesías with his valet on the ringside with Dorian, and they kind of had this back and forth. It was really interesting on commentary. I think commentary was very inconsistent, if I had to find a loophole in it. Conan is a great legend, and yes, he had a long Hall of Fame acceptance speech into AAA, but Conan and Corey Graves and JBL, which able to sneak in some zingers in there every now and then. I feel like that was not a great trio caster group. For those of you who don't know, I'm a caster. I've done esports casting at high levels. I worked with 2-man group, 3-man group, and a quadruple, as many as people as possible when it comes down to casting. And a 3-man booth is very difficult to do, especially with someone who speaks so lowly and his energy is so low as Conan. But I digress. I think Corey did a great job, and JPLs with the zingers, bam, did a really good job in there. And this match was really cool. It's a very simple, straightforward story. The father helping the son overcome the odds. Mesías being a very great foe, almost getting the finish after that spear. It was a nasty spear. And good old El Hijo de Wagner Jr. was able to get the Wagner driver for the win, hitting it the second time. And I just love the simplicity of the match. And I kind of love the extra sauce that Conan was throwing at Dr. Wagner Jr. at ringside. But it was really cool. And I love that it was a good 10-minute match. In the next match, you got Judgment Day of Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne Perez at ringside versus Mr. Iguana, Nino Hamburguesa, and Lola Vice. This was a intermixed tag team match. You had a 3v3, and this is what I was talking about, where the Judgment Day had that aura. They had that feeling that they felt like a dangerous group back to the days of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. They got a little bit of that back, and I absolutely loved this match. It was really fun. It had that good mixture of La Yesca in terms of Mr. Iguana, and then they brought in Domenico, or what do they call it? Oh my god, they brought in a small demon puppet. And you could correct me in the comments, but this demon puppet is going to be available in the WWE shop for $100. So, Demonito, they brought in this baby puppet that Finn Balor had. And it was a good callback to the Demon Balor days. And he basically bites Yesca and then throws her on the ground. And then out comes Nino Hamburguesa with 2 burgers and kind of gives one to Finn Balor. And they toast. And Finn Balor, who has body fat of absolutely lower than 0, eats the burger. And this is what I mean, dude. This is what I mean of letting the wrestlers kind of let down their hair. There's some moments where JD McDonough was trying to knock over Nino Hamburguesa and he couldn't do it. Got a little protein shake and shook it up from Roxanne, and he drank it and still couldn't do it. These were the really nice moments that had reminded me of what wrestling can be when you let your hair down type of vibe, and the comedic charisma that JD McDonough has and Finn Balor has, even Raquel Rodriguez. There were some good moments, but I love the continuation that this match was building on the character of Judgment Day as a whole, as a group, as they working together, the cohesiveness of it, of Roxanne helping out and getting chased off by La Hydra. By the way, it's a good, interesting appearance by La Hydra. But what I wanted to say was, at the moment that it was at the ending where Raquel Rodriguez was able to take over as Big Mommy Cool and destroying Lola Vice after taking advantage of the outside interference of Roxy, hitting her with a big Tejana bomb and gets that stack pin. That is going to do wonders for giving a dub to Raquel Rodriguez in Mexico City. And I like this match. And it wasn't too heavy on the Mr. Iguana. I'm happy that they're not hitting us hard with Mr. Iguana. They gave Mr. Iguana the hot tag. They gave La Yesca a little bit of the highlight. But I love the play of Demon Balor. A little Demonito out there having some fun. So it's good to see Finn Balor have fun. And Judgment Day keeps winning. In the next match, we have Pagano and Psycho Clown versus Los Garza. This is for the street fight of the AAA World Tag Team Championship. This match had a lot of furniture. You know, it didn't flow really nicely. It was very hard hitting. You know, they were basically Los Garzas being one up every time by Pagano and Psycho Clown. Los Garza brought out the kendo stick. The Psycho Clown and Pagano brought out a barbed wire kendo stick. But there was a couple of good car crash moments, a little bit of mixture of luchador. I like Psycho Clown was able to take out Angel on the outside before the finish. That was really cool. They had really cool table spots that was happening. There was a moment where literally Angel just showed how stacked and strong he was, and he drives both Pagano and Psycho Clown into the outside on the table spot. But this is what I mean, right? Showing the WWE superstars in a different light, treating them a little bit differently, highlighting their strengths. I mean, Los Garza has had a lot of great moments on SmackDown, looking very dangerous. And it's clearly in the street fight, they are looking very serious. My only negative thing about this match is I was hoping that the tag team championships would stay in the WWE, because when they had that open challenge and they had AAA wrestlers, luchadors on SmackDown, I thought that was cool. I mean, we got Psycho Clown, Mr. Iguana on SmackDown. And I was hoping we could get more of that, multiple weeks to get more of these luchadors from AAA on American television. And I thought that was a great vehicle to do that, because Los Garza is someone that could be like, kind of like that team that could carry that flag. One of the most interesting things is Santos Escobar was not on ringside. His dad was there. Phantasma was there. So it was interesting that they didn't have that. And I thought that would be an interesting thing to have on ringside, because it was helpful in various matches with having Legado at full force. But Pagano and Psycho Clown, they were able to get it. You saw an appearance of the Psycho Circus as well. So hey, big pop from the crowd seeing that the home team got a dub. So this was interesting. Now at this point of the PLE, you got home team versus the visiting team, WWE versus AAA, and we get another one. We have Lady Flammer and Faby Apache and Natalya dressed as Natty Neidhart. For those of you who know, Natty Neidhart is the kind of blood sport version of Natalya, who comes out wearing like shoot wrestling, looking like an MMA star, and is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more más fuerte, you know what I mean? Just going out there, causing a lot of chaos, looking like a game like Kurt Angle holds and things of that sort, with just much more, I guess, intense is the lack of a better word in terms of, I couldn't find another adjective to describe Natalya, but Natty Neidhart is someone that's been running around GCW, getting a lot of, you know, submission wrestling, things like that. So this match was kind of a weird one because it had a heel referee, and the heel referee caused a lot of chaos. I like that they set it up that the heel referee would do fast counts for Flammer and doing all those kinds of things that were heel things, and not counting fast or counting submissions and telling people like that's hold's not going to count. It's been a while since we had a heel referee, and I think like at first I kind of dug it, and then it kind of got to the point where I hated it. But it's a heel, right? I should hate this things. And of course, the heel champion of the Queens of Queens of the championship gets the win here, La Reina de Reinas, and that, you know, I just wish there was a little bit more. You know, the ending kind of fell flat considering that the heel referee had a big influence, but I wish maybe the heel referee's influence wasn't so like a brooding cloud, because it felt like there was no way Natty was going to overcome it. And I'm surprised Natty or Apache didn't really go after the heel referee at all. They kind of just let everything happen, and it was kind of a match that I was hoping more from, but still a pretty interesting match. And considering that the heel referee might be something that might be retired forever, don't know. In your main event, we got Hijo del Vikingo versus Dominik Mysterio versus Dragon Lee versus Grande Americano. And this is literally, and this is all for the Mega Championship, by the way, but this is literally for Triplemanía rules. It really felt like that way. You got literally everybody coming out underneath the sun to help their whatever player that they had. You had Judgment Day, you had LWO, you had the Grande Americanos. They all came out, and then Vikingos literally was the only one that didn't have anyone until the very end. But let's just talk about the in-ring. It was really great to see the Fatal 4-Way. I am surprised. For those who know, Vikingo heavily booed in his own backyard at Mexico City, considering that how Vikingo became champion. For those of you who know, Alberto Del Rio, if you may be wondering why was Vikingo booed, he is their babyface champion. Vikingo beat Alberto Del Rio, who was one of their longest champions that they had, and he was very revered and things like that. But of course, the WWE took the belt off of them, and they kind of spoiled that Vikingo would beat Alberto Del Rio before Worlds Collide, if you remember. And at Worlds Collide, Vikingo represented the AAA out there against Chad Gable. So anyway, anytime Vikingo got any offense was getting booed. Even Dragon Lee was booed. And the crowd absolutely loved Grande Americano, who had a really cool entrance coming out singing, serenading the crowd. And Dominik Mysterio's got one of his biggest pops of his career. And for me, when I was watching this entire match, I'm sitting there thinking, this is Dom's time. It just feels right. And these are the kinds of things when it comes to wrestling, when it feels right, when you want it the most, you don't get what you want, and you don't get even what you need, baby. Because that is what I was at right here. I was ready to pop for Dominik Mysterio becoming a two-belt champion, the Intercontinental champion and the Mega champion. But that doesn't happen. Before we get there, like I mentioned, the in-ring was great. I loved everything about it. I love how it stacked on nicely. And even though it had all the interferences, it had all the shenanigans, this match only stuck around for 15 minutes. And that myself is a big W. I mean, typically when it comes to bloodline rule matches, you get a slow, plodding Roman Reigns kind of dramatic type of match where it just moves along at a snail's pace, and then you get to the shenanigans. But here you got a lot of high-flying lucha libre to kind of get us in that appetizer, get us going, and all of a sudden just kicks up a notch with more of the shenanigans built on top of shenanigans. And like I mentioned, that shenanigans started with Judgment Day coming out, almost getting the dub for Dominik Mysterio, and then LWO comes out, and the Grande Americanos. And I love that every kind of guy in this Fatal 4-Way had that hope spot. Like they had the opportunity, like, ooh, they're almost gonna win. And then Dominik Mysterio puts on the Rey Mysterio mask, the father of Rey Mysterio Jr. He puts it on, he loads it up, and he knocks out Grande Americano, and then he knocks out, he throws out Vikingo, knocks out Dragon Lee, then hits the big old frog splash, and you're thinking like, this is it. Dom's gonna get the dub. And then all of a sudden, another black masked luchador comes out and shoves the referee. And you may be thinking, is another member of the bloodline coming out? No. Is Rey Mysterio coming out to stop his own son for beating Vikingo, or, you know, being the next mega champion? Not so fast. It is the most pettiest wrestler of all time. The man will travel to the ends of the earth to stop his opponent. It is the man with the most frequent flyer miles ever. It is AJ Styles. AJ Styles comes out, hits a Styles clash on Dominik Mysterio, setting up Vikingo for his 650 whatever, 740, I don't know what it is, 800 splash, and the crowd is just booing all this entire thing. And I'm like, no AJ, you blew it, you blundered. You thought you were doing something good, but now you're doing something bad. And so that is the end, and that is the finish. And like I said, this is great. You know, where I mentioned that it was just, you could say like, oh, I'm going to miss this Triplemanía. It's not going to have anything to do. There's no fallout in WWE. I would say this right here will be the biggest fallout of this entire match, where AJ Styles cost Dominik Mysterio the Mega Championship. And because of that, I'm hoping we get Dominik Mysterio coming in and challenging AJ Styles at Clash in Paris, or at Paris. And then we're going to get the phenomenal. Then we're going to get all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to see that crowd at Paris with AJ Styles and with Dirty Dom. I would love to see Dom retain. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm hope that he does lose at Clash, and this match has already been announced. My brain's fried. Okay. So I hope Dom does lose that Clash, so that way he'll free him up and he goes down in Mega Championship down in Mexico to challenge Vikingo for a 1v1, and that will be huge, and that will be a great moment for Dominik Mysterio's legacy and his lore, legend, whatever you want to call it, for Dominik Mysterio to be the Mega Champion, and apparently something that Rey Mysterio Jr., his dad, has never done. Awesome PLE. I highly recommend you check it out. Very, very fun from top to bottom. It goes by so fast. You might want to fast forward through Conan's speech. It is a little long-winded, considering there are times where he was yelling at random people in the crowd. But hey, don't mess with Conan, dude. He's the dog father, as they call him, as the Road Dog said. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of these reviews or more of my videos from Sancho West Wrestling, please subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.